back to Fool Us. We already have one fooler in the house, but for feng shui purposes, it feels like this house could use a second one. I hope our next magician can help us out.
Hi, I'm Adam Parisi, and I'm a straight-edge weirdo. By day, I write software. By night, it's a slightly different story. I traveled an unusual path to get here. My mom, she had a tough time bringing us up. We were homeless for a little while there. I remember watching my mom and her friends play cards, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I learned to shuffle and deal when I was only 5. But I didn't get into magic until my 20s. Because of how I grew up and the struggles I went through, I don't want my kids to have to go through that same thing. So I went back to college at 25 to study computer engineering. And that's how I got my 9-to-5 job, when I'm not moonlighting as a crazy magician in the weirdest venues you've ever seen. And now my path has led me here. I don't know if I'm gonna fool Penn and Teller, but I know my kids are gonna go crazy when they see this insane stunt on TV.
Give it up for Adam Parisi.
Thank you. So my 2 daughters absolutely love having a magician for a dad. That's not a joke. They're not jaded teenagers yet. I'm still cool. But sometimes being a magician can make even normal family activities a little strange. And I will give you the perfect example. Last year, we decided to get our first family pet. Now, a normal family would just go to a pet store and pick one out. But we are not normal. We decided if we're gonna pick a pet, we wanted to do it our way. It was gonna be fun, silly, and weird, just like us. So we picked our pet completely randomly. We just had our daughters shout out the names of different animals that we could adopt, and we wrote them down. They shouted out dog, cat, classics, sloth. Okay, that's my 10-year-old. She absolutely loves sloths, her entire world. Turtle, unicorn, and that would be my 6-year-old. She not only loves unicorns, but also doing everything her older sister does. We got to about 3 dozen different animals before they just started shouting out weird stuff like T-Rex or Hydra. Now, a simple way of just picking one of these animals at random would be to deal them down and have one of my kids just call out stop. Penn, can you pretend to be one of my kids?
I sure can.
Perfect. I'm gonna need you to stare at a tablet and ignore everything I say. Just go ahead and say stop for me anytime.
Stop.
Perfect. That's gonna be your animal. I want you to remember that. I don't wanna see it. Can you see it?
I can.
Perfect. I'm gonna mix those up. Now, when I did this with my daughters, my 6-year-old, she's the least trusting of all of us. She said, Dad, you're a magician and you might try to do something sneaky with those cards to get the animal you want. I thought that was a bold accusation coming from somebody who can't even put a straw in her own juice box. But to make it fair, I had my wife help us out and asked her to get a bag to put all the cards in and we'd mix them up blindly. Allison, can you pretend to be my wife?
Sure.
Awesome. I'm gonna need you to get your phone and stare at it and ignore everything I say. No, I'm only kidding. Allison, ladies and gentlemen. Allison, right over there are some bags. Can you just pick out any one that you want and open it up?
Sure. Okay.
And go ahead and open it. Thank you so much. Perfect. And you can see inside the bag, there's no sticky stuff or extra cards. I took all of the cards and I put them inside the bag, and then I gave it a good mix. Kind of like a zoo in a hurricane. Now, I didn't even reach inside the bag to take out the animal. My daughters know I'm the kind of magician who makes his living walking on fire and eating glass, and they love that kind of stuff. So they knew this was gonna get super weird. I went into our junk drawer and I got a nail. And then I sealed the top of the bag closed. Then I got a hammer and I nailed the whole thing straight to my face.
Oh, in front of your children?
Wait
Please
for it, Allison.
No, don't.
Here we go.
Your
Allison,
children.
is that going into my face?
I trust, maybe. Oh my God.
I have to admit that this is probably the weirdest way ever to select a pet. But Penn, oh, there you are. Penn, do you remember the animal you selected at the beginning?
I sure do.
What was it?
Fish.
I think it'd be pretty cool if I also got a fish.
Oh!
Nailed it.
It's up his nose.
Nailed it to my face. Okay. Allison, this is for you, a souvenir.
No, thanks.
No. That is kind of weird. I'll keep it. Allison, thank you so much. Penn Teller, thank you so much. I have to admit that this is exactly how we selected our first family pet. Yeah, the hammer, the nails, my face, my kids loved it.
He's bleeding.
To be honest, my kids would have loved anything as long as they got a pet. And speaking of pets, Penn, the pet that you selected at the beginning, the fish, that was our first family pet. And I brought her along to say hi.
Adam Parisi!
Thank you.
I think you should have gotten a bigger fish bowl.
That's just her travel bowl. She has a much larger one. She's a diva.
You don't really do that in front of your children, do you?
I do, yes. They are so over it. I could hammer a nail into my face at dinner, and they would just be like, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, I swallow razor blades, I walk on glass, and they're just ho-hum.
I mean, I was like, this guy's such a great dad, and then you nailed your face, and I was like, I need to talk to his wife.
Well, two things can be true. I can still be a good dad and nail things
true.
to my
Okay.
face.
All right, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
When I told my sisters I was coming on the show, they're huge Buffy fans, and I was like, if I make Allison puke, they're never gonna forgive me.
I give them permission to not forgive you.
Nail, blood.
So, could you see yourself as a performer in a freak show?
If I wasn't a magician, if this was 100 years previously, most definitely. I would have been touring around with the freak show. I would have loved it. Yes.
Okay, Adam, let's go to the boys and see if you fooled them.
Hey there, Adam.
Hey.
Nice routine. You know, I know how you feel about having children and having them have to deal with what their father does for a living, you know, because, you know, we love the sideshow. We love the sideshow stuff. And I'm sure the name Melvin Burkhart means a lot to you.
Of course,
means a lot to me. I got to meet him. I officiated Todd Robbins' wedding along with Melvin Burkhart and saw him hammer a nail up his nose. That act, by the way, Allison, is called Blockhead, and that is not a magic trick. He is hammering a damn nail up his damn nose.
I saw the blood.
Yeah. And I can only do it on my right because I have a deviated septum on the other side. But that's not that interesting, is it? The problem with Blockhead, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is it's very hard to get a lot out of it. So when you do Blockhead, you learn it, people like it, but you're always forced to add some sort of other trick in there. You have to have some sort of second deal to put in there with it. So you have to do like Blockhead with sword swallowing or Blockhead with fire eating, or what you've done in this case, which is Blockhead with a really nice magic trick. And also love the goldfish surprise at the end, the very non-claustrophobic goldfish, I want to point out. You want to give that fish a nice big area to kind of swim it off after being in there. But it's a wonderful act and very close to my heart because it's all the carnival stuff and you do all of that. But I think in my little story of Melvin Burkhart, I might have slipped in a word or two. So I just have to know, did we nail it?
You nailed it.
Okay, so you didn't fool them, but you grossed me out. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Adam Parisi! See Penn and Teller perform later tonight. See them take on another magician right after this.